Hi darlings and darklings, welcome back to the Simply Witcher YouTube channel. My name is Leafy, they, them, and today I am bringing the water signs, their divine alignment reading for June 2020. This month I am using the Field Guide to Garden Dragons and Tarotbot as our decks. And as always, I pulled an oracle card for all of the water signs and tarot cards for each individual sign. So let's get into our disclaimers and then I'll get into the readings. First of all, make sure you check in with your sun, moon, and rising sign because you are not just your sun sign, and you will get a more complete picture of the month if you check in with all three. Second of all, this is a collective reading, so not everything will resonate with everyone, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Alright, so let's get into it. I pulled the Grape Jelly Dragon for the water signs. I love this deck, it's adorable. So this card tells me that this is the advice these cards have for you is going to be about your inner child or perhaps some actual children around you, it depends. But most likely it'll be about your inner child, your inner children, because I think we all have more than one. We experience plenty of trauma, and childhood is, 0 to adulthood. Your teenage years are included in there. Anyway, this advice is for your inner child, or maybe your children, or maybe a child in your life. I don't know. We're going to find out together. So, for Cancer, I pulled the Three of Wands. Well, let me show that to you better. The Three of Wands. There we go. A good view of my camera there. The Four of Cups and the Ace of Swords. So what I'm really seeing first off is the Four of Cups and the Three of Wands. How can looking at what could have been or what you expected to be or what might have been help you move on and move forward? You need some perspective on the past so that you can move ahead into the future. And the Ace of Swords is really going to help you kind of cut through the bullshit and cut through the conditioning and your romanticizing of the past, and it'll really help you gain clarity so that with that clarity you can move on into a healthy, brighter future. Yeah, I think that's my reading for you, Cancer. Real short and sweet this month, but that's a lot of work to do. That's not an easy thing to do, so happy trails, because it'll be a lot of inner work. Alright, so Scorpio, for you, I pulled the Three of Cups, the Eight of Wands, and the King of Cups. So for me, these cards are all kind of united. They're asking you how emotional intelligence and the celebration of yourself can move you through its flow, move you without you actively attempting to move. How can that carry you into a new place? Because this doesn't feel like a call to any particular action to me. This is just asking you to examine your emotional intelligence and kind of see where it's going to logically lead you, if that makes sense. If you change nothing about what you're doing, where do you think you're going to end up? And kind of consider that question and decide if you would like to not change anything and end up where you see these things logically falling, or do you not like where this leads you, and how do you change if you don't want that outcome? Yeah, consider those questions, consider those things, and see where it leads you and what it leads you to do. Yeah, so that's my reading for Scorpio. Short and sweet for the water signs this month. Let's see if you follow suit with that, Pisces. For you, I pulled the King of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Ten of Cups. So these feel like things to consider in the context of your inner child to me. First, the King of Wands is stable creation is what I'm hearing. Like, what stability can you create for your inner child to help them feel safe and secure so that they don't, freak out every time something happens, so that when your inner child is triggered, you know how to handle it, how to make them feel safe and secured and loved. So build those kinds of structures to help you and to help your inner child and to help deal with their panic instinct. And then the Knight of Swords, to me, is asking you to peel back the layers of kind of what the ego stories you sold yourself, because the ego is there to protect the inner child. You don't want to kill the ego because it's a necessary thing that allows your inner child to feel safe, or that makes your inner child feel panicked and insecure. So the ego, when your inner child is traumatized, has created stories to help you feel better and help you feel good and help that inner child feel safe in response. These stories are things we need to examine and to cut away the lies and get to the truth of the matter so we can actually heal the wound instead of just slapping the Band-Aid on the bullet wound, if that makes sense. So start looking at those stories that your ego has told you to protect your inner child and kind of seek the truth in them, seek the lesson, learn the lesson, and then, actually sew up the wound and give it time to heal, instead of, popping your little Hello Kitty Band-Aid on it. And then finally, in the Ten of Cups, I'm hearing emotional balance. So while you want to balance these two other cards, you want to do the work to clarity, but you want to have these boundaries in place first so that because you don't want to just rip away the safety net from your inner child. You want to have an actual healthy thing to do instead of believing these stories. So make sure you have the balance of the safety structures before you go, taking away what safety you have. So strike a balance between these works. Make sure you have a plan in place before you uproot the story. So those are my readings for the water signs for this month. I hope you enjoyed them. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like this video. I post new videos every Monday, so subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye!